Hello everybody, it is Connor. We're back here with another video. I'd say I hope you're doing fantastically well, but I fear I know the answer to that one. We're back here with three things that we learnt after yesterday's loss to West Bromwich Albion. Leeds United going to the Hawthorns and unfortunately not rectifying the problems that they faced at Deepdale. Facing a lot of the same problems, a lot of similar issues, and we're going to get through them today. Make sure you are liking the video, everybody. Please make sure you subscribe to the Leeds Fan Channel. Also, please make sure you comment in on every video. I do read the comment section. As I said before, if you want some bonus content, please head on over to the Patreon account. We had an additional video there last night. We'll have some podcasts this week, which are going to be delving into the farce of Leeds United. But as well as that, we're going to be adding some January content, some bonus content to their targets, maybe players that we should be looking at and players that should be leaving Leeds United. And we're going to be analysing that on the podcast in a little bit more detail. So make sure you're checking out the Patreon, everybody. But let's get in to three things. So the one thing that I wanted to speak about this morning in particular was fans' expectation. And this is where it's interesting because football's, subjective, but I wanted to speak on the team that we have right now. I don't want the rhetoric to suddenly be, when it comes to Leeds United, that we are not good enough. This team isn't good enough. We got to the back end of the window, and throughout the window, I was thinking, oh dear, dear. I was looking at Gelhardt up front, Shackleton right wing. I was looking at Paveda being the creative spark, and I was thinking, we're in trouble here. And I called out, I think we're going to finish 12th, 13th, and I was being positive there. I thought the change was too much, the quality was absent. And I was thinking to myself, we're still going to see big hitters go, aside from Sinisterra, it's going to be a few more. And I was convinced. So I was coming on here saying, I believe that this Leeds United side will finish 12th to 13th. The January window ended. Jadon Anthony came in. Wasn't as convinced with that signing initially as what I was with keeping hold of Sinisterra, and I still, remain true to that. But Jadon Anthony is a very progressive championship footballer. Was happy with that. Perot, need to see more of him. However, he's done what he's done in the championship. Not a bad signing, 16 million quid. Kept hold of Crysensi Somerville. Not back 20, 25 million offers from Burnley and co. Brilliant. Jorginho Rutter, we're not seeing enough of him last season, but he'd come into this setup and Leeds United had rejected a 31 million quid offer from Dortmund. And that was from Bild. That was from German outlets. Leeds then brought in Glenn Kamara, who's played Champions League football very, very recently. Leeds United also then signed Ethan Ampadu for 7 million quid, which was an outrageous signing. We brought in Joe Rodon. We brought in Jed Spence. You're looking at the signings and you're thinking, Jesus Christ, that is some top signings. We kept hold of Pascal Struijk amid interest from PSG. Sam Byram came in, we were a little bit like, but he's done a good, could he do a good job if he stays fit? Okay, I'll even take that. And he has done a very, very good job aside from last night. My point here, everyone, is this team is more than good enough to not only get promoted, but win the championship. More than good enough. The issue will be next season when these players get picked off. And that's when a lot of us will turn round. A lot of you will turn round if you're still thinking that they're the problem and other factors aren't. And you'll think, oh God, we did have a good team. And now we've sort of got a basic championship attack. When the XG, once again, last night was below 1. 0.96 last night, which means that for 6 games continuously, Leeds United now have below 1 goal created from open play per XG per game. That is backed by data. That is a quantitative representation that this manager isn't getting enough out of our major assets and our major plus point, which is Leeds going forward. That's a real worry. But what I don't want to hear is that this side isn't good enough. This team is more than good enough. More than good enough. And we don't have to go through each and every individual and talk about their attributes. But this side was a side built for promotion. There was a lot of discussion about a 2-year plan. And I think the 49ers, may have discussed that with Daniel Farker at the start. With the notification just above his head that if we're not able to do X, Y, and Z in the transfer window and we're going to lose X, Y, and Z, then listen, it's a 2-year project. But they've kept hold of X, Y, Z. They've kept hold of A, B, C in this side. And they've also recruited very well. Even though they've missed out profiles and even though they've not built properly, it's not 100% sorted, this team is more than good enough. More than good enough. So number one, the one thing that we need to learn as a fan base is this side is more than good enough for automatic promotion. Let me just take you over as well to some statistics. So as you can see here, everyone, this is the West Brom game. This wasn't great whatsoever. Now, West Brom's form, very, very similar to Leeds going into the game, as you can see there. But overall, the underlying data is here. And as you can see, expected goals 1.36, 0.96. So Leeds failing to get above a goal in general play. Open play is going to be even lower than that. 13 shots to Leeds is 15. Leeds having 1 on target, which just illustrates to me the productivity is just absolutely appalling in the final third. Big chances, 1. And look at the accurate passes. Look at the passing stats here. Leeds are just dominating as we dominated Preston. But unfortunately, we're just not able to break through. Now, this is a major stat and it contributes, like we were speaking to before, XG open play, which if you guys don't know what that means, we've got a little notification here. Expected goals, a measurement of the quality of a shot. A team's XG number for a match is an indication of how many goals they could have been expected to score given the chances created. That's just for people who maybe don't understand it. Look at that. Expected goals on target, 0.05. And even set plays, because we're not scoring from open play, 0.21. Really, really poor data. And West Brom deserve to win. But when we're looking here at the players that we have at our disposal, Jorginho Rutter, who's featuring on the assists, he's featuring on ratings. You've got Crysencio Somerville, the best player, according to FootMob, in the Championship in terms of rating this season. Big chances created. Rutter at the top there, 17. Crysencio Somerville there. So Dan James filling in down there. Interceptions per 90. This will be interesting. How much do we feature on that? I thought we'd feature a little bit higher on that. Successful tackles. This will be interesting. Luke Ayling there. I know you get a couple of you guys shouting for him now. Well, let's have a look at the team in terms of this Championship output here. FootMob rating Leeds are second. Obviously, Leeds are conceding goals here. But expected goals, still extremely high. Big chances, very, very high. Touches in opposition box, look at that. Possession 1 in final third. The whole point here, everyone, is Leeds are still dominant and quality, even it's representative in a lot of the data and the stats. Let's get into point 2. Which is Daniel Farker. The strategy. Now, against Preston, you saw Archie Gray getting peppered. I'll tell you what, let's touch on the starting 11 last night. Let's touch on the starting 11. So Leeds United, he made 5 changes. Now, for me, it was interesting how the club put that out as well. They said that, I believe it was Strauch, who's got an adductor injury, and they put it out. They actually made a statement on it, which was fascinating in itself. Got a couple of text messages about that. They never do that. And he made 5 changes. Now, we know some of them were forced, but some of them weren't. Now, you do wonder about the pressure there with Farker. Is he listening to outside noise, which he's always said that he doesn't do? But for me, it's repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. We get someone getting peppered. I've had Gray getting peppered against Preston. He keeps him on, takes Jed Spence off. We had Byram getting peppered by Wallace last night. For some reason, Byram was inverted. Is that a tactic? If it is, why? When West Bromwich Albion like to push the wingers wide and get balls into the box. Don't know why. Byram was consistently inverted. Is that a strategy put on him by Daniel Farker? If it is, it's a bozo strategy. And then Byram has to make up ground, not being covered by Crysencio Somerville, which seemed like an instruction. Has to make up ground, but Jed Wallace has 5-6 yards space ahead of Sam Byram, of which he can whip the ball in a lot quicker, which we saw last night when West Brom were unlucky with a couple of chances. Cooper blocked it essentially off the line, obviously a little bit further out, but it was going in. I think it was it Swift or Malumbi nearly put the ball in, and then Darlow's howler, Jed clears it off the line. All created that corner initially by Wallace, and obviously the goal that came from Wallace's side as well. So I don't know what strategy he's thinking about there, but the key point is Gray was getting peppered against Preston, didn't take him off, didn't take him out of the fire. Byron was getting peppered last night, didn't take him out of the fire. You've got a Bulgarian international there who's actually on the pitch who can slot in to left back if you need. You've also got Spence who, wouldn't be ideal, but you could put him to left back. I'm not having all of this absolute garbage if he didn't have a choice. He doesn't take players off when they're suffering. He takes better players off when individuals who are worse are suffering. You saw it in the last game when Somerville and Kamara came off. Bizarre when we're chasing the game. Yesterday, Spence, who I thought was having an okay game, came off. Byron remains on the pitch and he's the worst player for Leeds defensively and offensively. Don't get it. And his strategy, consistently, is to be reactive. We saw it against Preston. He brings Bamford on in the 90th minute. He then brings Bamford on again last night. Reactive. And his entire strategy is to throw everybody on, throw every attacker he's got on the bench on, use all that arsenal because he knows he's got a lot of players on the bench, and he reacts. He's not proactive, he's reactive. Throws them all on, and that's it. Go on, all the attackers on the pitch. And at the start of the season, we were like, look at this. Look at this on the pitch. Isn't this fantastic? All these attackers on the pitch, and they were flowing, they were fluid, they were dynamic, there was synergy between them. And now suddenly, I'm hearing, it's the players. Farker this, Farker that, but the players are not, which is right in a sense, but we're all having a different rhetoric at the start of the season when it was going well. Now it's going poorly. There's some people who are still not putting criticism of Daniel Farker and now blaming the players who they were bigging up here, being chucked onto the pitch at the beginning of the season. That's all changed now, and I don't understand that. He has one tactic in a 4-2-3-1. He made changes last night, which to me illustrates he's feeling the pressure a little bit. A lot of changes. And the only person last night who, for me, did it by himself, but Gruev was actually looking at playing the ball over, and we're actually taking the mick on the watch along. How incredible was it? Because we got in twice by playing the ball over instead of just trying to play it through consistently. Ampadu then tried it, we got over. Byron, unfortunately, his touch was poor, and he reverted to going back. But it's all right discussing the possession that Leeds have. Possession. But how many of that possession's in the final third? How many of that possession is Leeds being progressive? It's not. It's back to, midfielder, back to, midfielder. I said this before. If anybody of you have seen the Simpsons clip where it's just, I think it's Portugal passing between the three, like that. Listen, it's almost a comedy sketch, and it's like boring. That's what it's like at the minute. Leeds are so easy to play against. So easy. So that's another thing we learned. He doesn't seem to strategically understand when players are suffering, and he doesn't take them out the fire. He just, for some reason, decides to take the better players off, which I don't really get. We need to talk about Southampton. We need to talk about Bamford before we talk about Southampton. It's a guy now who has scored. Let's just have a look at some of these, which I know you guys will probably look at and think, wow. Let's have a look at this. So we'll go straight to Pat Bamford on here. And we'll look here. This is championship-wise. So XG per 90. This is essentially, obviously that's reduced because of how many minutes he's playing, but he's still getting a good amount of chances per 90. He's having over 5 shots per 90 as well. Obviously last night he didn't. His shots on target, he's getting 2.2 on target, but none of them are going in. He's still featuring heavily, insanely, on these statistics. XG and XA per 90, which is expected assists and expected goals. It's all expected, everybody. It's not actual goals. And if we go to Patrick's actual profile here, look at this. So these are the minutes he's played. So it's now, I mean, there's previous sheets as well. Look at this. This is goals. I want you to all look at this. Right. This is in the Premier League, right? So from Fulham, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. You get the picture. You get the picture. He has now featured in 16 substitute appearances and scored none. So, what is he doing with him? What are we doing with him? Get rid of him. Sell him in January. I'm sick of seeing him. No improvement. He's a charity case. There is no need to have him at this football club. I want him gone in January. 16 appearances, no goals, but Farke keeps putting him on. Why? Point 3, 49ers. Now, for me, it's that whole rhetoric right now of they're soft. Leeds are soft. Away from home, we've got a soft underbelly, and that's not going to get you promoted. That's my point of view. The 49ers are ruthless. They are American businessmen who have improved the San Francisco 49ers to a ridiculous degree. They want to invest in a facility, in a stadium, in Leeds as an institution. Not going to be able to do that in the Championship. It's not going to happen. They might have a 2-year plan, but are they happy with what they're seeing now? If hypothetically we were to lose against Birmingham or to draw against Birmingham, how far does this go? And I'm being serious here. How far does this now go? Do we then lose another game after this and still say that he's doing a good job? I'm sick of hearing, oh, Connor, you'd have taken 4th at the start of the season. I wouldn't have taken 4th if we were 17 points behind Leicester. I wouldn't. I'd want us 4th, but close. We're not close. In the form table, I wanted to take you through this as well. The form table right now. It's not looking good, everyone. Whatsoever. Championship form table. I was having a look at this beforehand. The fish is always a good one. And just to put it in plain sight, of the last 6, Leeds United are below Ipswich. We're below Leicester and Southampton, who are flying. And we're closer to all the teams who are near on the bottom. And our form is just utterly horrific at the minute. I don't know how this has happened. Southampton are now 6 points clear. Leicester are 17 points clear. Southampton are 17 unbeaten. This is going to sign it out for me, everybody. The January window starts on Monday. And I'm really interested to hear what you guys have to think about this, because we need players, but we need way more from this manager. And for me, a soft team doesn't marry up with ruthless businessmen. So things need to improve. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Head on over to the Patreon if you found some bonus content, guys. Really appreciate your support. I'll see you in a bit. Cheers.